the closest thing to the Tasmanian devil I've ever seen. Our next inductee, Antwaan Randle L.
Thanks, Don. Appreciate it. Well, all right. Thanks, Don, for the introduction. I am certainly excited to be here. I thank God for the opportunity and certainly the acknowledgement. But just as I am getting acknowledged, I certainly have to acknowledge some of my own and also those who are being awarded tonight. So certainly I want to acknowledge Leanne. I like the speech and where you came up. I also want to acknowledge Leanne, I want to acknowledge Bobby, I want to acknowledge Larry, I want to acknowledge Landon and Michelle, and also Dave. Dave, you talked about family, and I'm going to dive right into my family because I think that's one of the biggest things after you thank God, because without my family, I certainly wouldn't be here. The things that they've taught me and brought me up. I want to acknowledge my beautiful wife, the loving, caring, honest, dependable, childbearing wife that I love so much. That's my wife. I've been married to one wife and been a father to many. We have 5 children together. Yeah, clap, because it ain't easy. And also to my wonderful mom and dad, who certainly have been there and have taught me not just about right and wrong throughout life, but have taught me about truth and what it means to be you and to love all at all times. And mom and dad, I thank you for doing all that. Round of applause for them as well. My older brother who has been in the limelight with me, and as I have moved forward and done some things, especially playing in the NFL, not one time did he take a jealous path in any way. He was always there for me and always there to support me. And brother, man, I love you and thank you for that. Coming to Indiana for me was almost it was nothing short of a miracle, the way I say it, the way I see it. And the reason I say that is because everybody told me I was too short to do just about anything I wanted to do. When it came to basketball, when it came to football, and even baseball. I mean, I remember when I started out playing Riverdale football, and I was like 6 years old. Then I went to Harvey Coach and started playing there. And it got to some point where they knew I could play, but they found out I was too young, so that kind of threw a little damper on everything. So I started and thought I was going to play, and then they told me I was too young. As I continued to grow up, people start saying, you know, you can play. You have this. You have these talents and these different things. And I think AT just said it on the screen, and I'm not patting myself on the back, but every opportunity I had, I wanted to show people that I'm different and I'm going to be different in everything that I do. I didn't want to be the same in terms of the way I practiced. I didn't want to be the same in terms of the way I played. I didn't want to be the same in terms of the way I spoke. I wanted to be different. I wanted to be different from where I came from and show people where I was going. And if you wanted to come along for the ride, you had to get on board. And that's what I tried to tell even my teammates as I came up, that was one of the most important things, that if you want to be involved with what I got going on, get on and we'll go somewhere. And I even thank my teammates who are not here for trusting me in that leadership and in that guidance. With that being said, we're going to jump right into some acknowledgments also, because I would be wrong to stand up here and not acknowledge some of the people who helped me out while I've been here. I mean, right down to some of the secretaries, and Barbara Thompson, Debbie Thompson, who, has always been there to help me out. We talk about secretaries. Everybody say, well, how do secretaries help you out? Well, when you come in as a freshman and you don't know where you're going and how you're going to get around and you don't know when the next stop is going to be, you go and you ask the secretaries, because they knew the schedule. They knew where you had to be and where you had to be. And they always talked about, being where you're supposed to be there, when you're supposed to be there. So I was also thankful to them, thankful to Robert Black, and also everybody know Big Al. Big Al sit out in the wheelchair at the games. I got to say thanks to Big Al, because Big Al was always there rooting for me even as I came in as a freshman. So for me, that meant a lot to me. I'm going to go right down the list. Coach Cam Cameron for choosing me. Coach Pete Smith for believing in me. Coach Smith believed in me and really pushed me forward to believe in myself more so than I thought I really did at that time. Also to Coach Marty Fine, who kept me in check. He was the one who also made sure I was into my grades and doing the right thing. And right now, it kind of carries into family because he's down there coaching my son down at Bryan University right now. So I think that's a wonderful thing, how everything ties together. Also with Coach T.J. Weiss, for him teaching me when I went from quarterback and did a little wide receiver, that little span, if you guys remember playing that one game. It was a little different, but I had to get used to it anyway, and that's just how God was paving the way for me to move forward and go play in the NFL. So it's just, again, funny how things worked out. To Coach Bamba and how Coach Bamba was our strength coach at the time, worked me to death, and particularly when I broke my wrist going into my first season as a quarterback and playing, I broke my wrist. He had me on the what we call the stationary bike, and that's why I don't like the stationary bike to this day, because he tried to wear me out because I couldn't do any running because I had pins in my wrist and what have you. To Coach Mark Deal for protecting me, and when I say protecting me, he made sure he got his offensive line in order to make sure they protect me on that field in terms of blocking and also off the field. He was always in my ear making sure I was where I was supposed to be, but more importantly, he was one of the guys who, he led me and kind of talked to me about family as well. And also Buck Seward, who was not here. He's celebrating Jenny's birthday, and I think he's one of the guys who helped me make the change, because at one point, Indiana wasn't on the list. I just wanted to go somewhere and play quarterback, and at the time, if I came here, the opportunity may not have been there, but when they made the switch to Coach Cameron, the opportunity came available, and Coach Seward was there to push me over the edge, if you will, and I'm thankful to him for that. Coach James Bell for giving me vision and making me country. If any of y'all ever met Coach James Bell, he is very, very country in the things that he eat, in the ways that he speaks, and even in the ways that he walks. So Coach James Bell was very country. Also to Coach Burton. Coach Burton gave me all the different nicknames that you heard in the paper. He was one of the guys that named me the squirrel and the rabbit and all those different names. So I also want to get not congratulations, but thanks to Coach Ron Burton for doing those things. Coach Ted Dasher, who tried to be the general, if you will, of the defensive line or whatever, and then I found out at the end he wasn't nothing but a teddy bear anyway to begin with. And also Coach Knight, who's not here obviously, but what he instilled in me when I left football and went over to transition into the basketball season. It didn't matter if I came and we had just played, our last season. I was going into the Thanksgiving tournament, whatever. He was going to make sure he got out of me whatever it is that he wanted. And what did I want is what he wanted to get out of me. And he made sure that, with his rants and tapping me on the back of my head with that big ring on his finger all the time, he had a way of getting his point across to us, and me especially, because he didn't like saying my name. He said, Antwaan Randle is too long. So he said, your name is Randy. So, so that's what Coach Knight called me. And I say, okay, I'm looking up at the 6'4" coach. Okay, that's my guess what's going to be my name. So my name was Randy. My name was Randy for quite some time. And also I have to give thanks to George Talafera for leading the way early on, paving the way and making history and giving me an opportunity to make history as well. So I do thank you for that. Also to Coach Thompson. I don't know where exactly he is. I know he got up and took out, but Coach Thompson was, when I came to IU, I wasn't a hothead. I wasn't a problem child, but in his eyes, I needed work. And I didn't know what he was talking about, but I thank God for him and God putting him in my life, because as I went along, I realized he was talking more than just football. He was talking about the things outside of football, and some of those things have helped me. And some people talk about, it doesn't just take the parents, it takes a community to raise a child. Well, when I got here, I was still in a child stage, and he helped me become the man that you see today when it comes to the spiritual side of it, and really teaching me, giving me understanding what it means to walk and walk and live for God. But also when it comes to treating my wife right, I always looked at him. Obviously, I looked at my pops, because my dad did such a wonderful job with my mom. And when I got to school, I had another example with Coach Thompson. And to further that, I also want to speak on the coaches that coached me. All those coaches that coached me, I came into a wonderful family environment. They're all still married today. So I know God has put me in Indiana for a perfect reason, and wasn't just football. Also want to thank, give a hand clap for that. I also got a point to Hugh Shanahan, who was out in the back, and he was one of those guys who was a little bit in law enforcement at the time. And when I got in trouble one time, and he said, if you get in trouble one more time, he said, I'm not getting involved. He was the one that made sure that, things went down. I have an avenue to go, somebody to go to talk to, and what the law enforcement and those things meant, and how if you went down that path, you would really vacate all the things that you had an opportunity to go and do. So Hugh, I thank you for that. Also, in education, Bill Casaro, who was standing right here, is one of my teachers when I came through. And as a student, I wanted to be the best I could be, but I realized that it was going to take a little bit more to be the student that I wanted to be in terms of graduating with a degree in sports communication, specialization in sportcasting. I didn't realize how much you had to write. And when I got involved in his classes, he showed me that my writing was okay. And he showed me what good writing was. So I thank him for that. And also a dedicated friend that I have to point out, and Lynn Amato, who's standing back there also, coming through the days in college. You always need somebody that's outside of football, that's outside of education, that can talk to you and give you understanding, give you a different perspective. And that's what Lynn Amato did for me. My time at Indiana here was wonderful. I could go on and thanking different people, but those are the people that I had on the list. And obviously, what I've done on the field and the things I've done now, again, is nothing short of a miracle. And I thank God for that, and I thank you guys for listening. This is a wonderful time. And also, I want to acknowledge one of my 5 children that's here. Sierra, if you stand up real quick. You're going to stand up now. That's beauty in the making. Just making sure I ain't missing nobody. Is my 7 minutes up, sweetheart? Sorry, I went over my 7 minutes, but that's my time. Thank you guys for listening, and once again, thank you for the award.
Where's our camera dude?
Camera guy, where you at? Okay, there you go.
Congratulations.